Hello Australia, welcome to My Millennial Money. I'm Glenn James and today it's Christmas time. We didn't want to do a Christmas episode, 3 days before Christmas, so we'd like to do it in November to give you as much time to start to think about how you can make your Christmas the best Christmas yet. Now, we've got some guests in the studio today. I'll start by introducing Anyo, Keeks and Amanda. Hey guys. How are we?
Good.
Very good.
Yeah. Doing well.
Yeah, so we'll get to the craziness soon. But I just want to announce a couple of things on today's podcast. Christmas is coming around. Many of you have purchased the Glenn James spending plan. You've changed your life. I've had so many emails and feedbacks, reviews. The people have said, hey, we've paid off 20 grand worth of debt. We can save an extra $200 a week. And that's only because they've put a system in place, they've put a plan in place and they've stuck to it and the money takes care of itself. So if that's been you and you've had good experience, you can now jump on the website and we'll put a link in the show note and you can buy the Glenn James spending plan as a gift. And you can give that to your family members because they're not going to listen to you. Like you girls, you don't listen to your mum when she tells you stuff, do you? So if you want me to tell your loved ones how to manage their money, you can do that and I will do that. So jump on the website. There's a version you can download and print and email, or you can pay an extra couple of dollars and we'll post you a hard copy gift certificate. One other thing before we, rattle this snake is I've recently launched a new podcast called My Millennial Business. So if you're a small business owner and you want to be encouraged and learn best practices, it's for you. If you're a side hustler and you want to try and transition to your business as a full-time thing, it's for you. Or if you're sitting at a desk or you're an employee or whatever that is, and you want to maybe one day start a business, it's going to be for you. And we can't do this podcast without our show partner, Sunsuper. If you are looking at reviewing your superannuation, you can throw Sunsuper in the mix. Thank you, Sunsuper. They've won every super award under the sun. They've won 2020 Fund of the Year a million times. Well, once in 2020 and a few times before 2020. And you can head to sunsuper.com.au/M3. And thank you to Sunsuper. All right, everyone ready?
Yes.
All right.
As ready as we can be.
All right. Anyo,
Yes.
you're an amazing woman. You're a mother of 10 children. Can you start the podcast and maybe just tell us a little bit about yourself and, I don't know, how we got here today. I don't know if you can name all your kids. Just talk. And we've got two of your daughters here and we'll have some fun today. This episode's just about Christmas hacks. And I thought, how can we do Christmas in a really kind of cost-effective way? So we need to talk to somebody who probably has done it every year in a cost-effective way for many years.
My name is Anyo. Yep. I was born in Holland, came to Australia when I was about nearly 18. Met my husband about 6 months later. And we were together for about 5 years before we had our first child. And then we traveled quite a bit, different states, America, and I just kept having babies. We had 9 in 15 years. We had 4 girls, 2 boys, 4 girls. And then we had a 5-year gap and still another little girl, Destiny, who is now nearly 12.
Wow.
Yeah.
And it's amazing because you've really got 3 generations. You've got a millennial, Gen Y, you've got Gen Z, Keeks, and then you've Destiny, the youngest, a Gen Z, or just in Gen Z maybe. Maybe borderline Z Alpha. Either way, there's 3 generations that you've been around. How do you keep up with technology, cool things, fashion?
I learn a lot from the girls, really.
Saying up to date on the lingo is hard for me.
So, I'm not very good with all the whole social. I mean, I do Instagram, but that's about it.
Yeah. You don't have a TikTok?
No, I don't have a TikTok. No.
He doesn't believe in TikTok.
Yeah, right. Okay, cool. And so I don't want to be presumptuous, but for most of your adult life, when the kids started, have you been a full-time parent?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What was that like? Did you do any other type of work? Was your husband, is it Michael?
Yes.
Yeah. what was Michael doing during that time?
Okay. Michael runs his own electrical business, but he's also a / builder designer. We homeschooled our children for 22 years. So that kept us very busy. And I worked on and off for about 10 to 15 years. And the last 4 years, I've worked with a non-for-profit Diamond Women. And we look after women who face unplanned pregnancies. So that's we have an office in Gosford, so I'm quite involved with that.
Yeah, great. And we'll put a link in the show notes just if anyone's interested in looking at that, because, we've got a good platform here, so we may as well use it for good. And particularly if you are on the New South Wales Central Coast, it might be something that we can spread the word on.
Beautiful.
Now, because, this episode is designed around the community and we've got a heap of questions that people have asked. People might be thinking, one, all your kids were naturally yours and you birthed them all, because there was some chatter in the group. It's like,
okay, true. Yes, yeah.
So
She's adopted.
yeah, this is actually Keeks. The purpose of today is to tell you you're adopted.
I'm adopted.
Yeah. And then secondly, the rationale behind homeschooling. What was the thought process behind that?
Okay. Yes, I did carry all the children. They were all Michael and mine. So we had 10 natural births. The rationale behind homeschooling was, I guess, once we had 3 in school, the youngest ones, there were some things that I thought, I suppose I didn't really like what was happening. So then I talked to my husband. I thought, well, we could do this at home because we got 3 girls at all similar age, like a year apart. So why not give it a go? So I did the course. They said, yep, you can do it. You can read and write. So I started that and it just kept going. And in a way, it was much easier. If all the children would have gone to school and do all the outside activities, it would have been hard. Like doing the schooling at home, we were all get up at the same time. They all have their little chores. The boys would get up really early, get their work done, and off they go play.
And that would have been handy when you're traveling around Australia and the States.
It was so good, yeah. Definitely, yeah. Especially we started about a year before we moved to America. And that was really good because once you go to the States, of course, you can't put your children in school as a student, because we were students in a college. Can't put your children to school. So we figured, well, we homeschool, we're all together.
I think this whole COVID thing that we've had this year, it might rock the boat with this whole schooling thing.
Yep.
Definitely.
So, Keeks, what was this podcast, I just kind of ask questions that people might be thinking. What was it like being homeschooled?
I loved it. Yeah. Yep. I think I went to school for 2 years of my life and I remember hating the assignments and the fact that I had to be at school for the whole day, because with homeschooling, you'd have your work you had to do. And then once you're finished, you're done for the day. So then, you'd be able to play in the bush or, do whatever. Yeah.
And while you've still got your microphone, what do you like? How old are you now and what are you doing with yourself?
Yeah. So I'm 20 and I work for a marketing company. So
Cool.
doing like business development as well as creating different marketing projects and things.
Awesome.
Yeah, which is a good time. Yeah.
So, Amanda, your experience being homeschooled, because there is stigma out there around homeschooling that the kids are going to be weird and they won't get good jobs. And
We're all
actually,
weird.
to be honest, when I found out you guys were homeschooled, I couldn't believe it because you were so normal. And take that as a compliment if you want. Yeah. So
really
what was your experience homeschooled, and what are you doing now with yourself, and how old are you now?
I'm 29 years old, and it was awesome because, like she said, we'd study in the morning, we'd be free all day, and like traveling around every day was an adventure. So I think it's given a lot of us quite an adventurous spirit. And we've all, finished to year 12, and then one of my sisters is stepped down of a CEO in New York, and another one's working overseas. I'm a nurse. I mainly work in emergency. And so we've all done, we've all got, went through uni and gotten ourselves some good jobs as well. So I think there is definitely a stigma, but I feel like, we didn't participate in a lot of the homeschooling stuff either, because we were like, let's not. So there is definitely a stigma.
Because there is homeschooling camps and stuff like that.
Yeah, we did go to one or two.
Bit weird. Was that the weird part?
And we were like, Mum, can we just never go again, please? So,
and I think on the fly, I'm renaming the podcast episode like homeschooling and Christmas hacks, because this is interesting because,
yes.
Anjo, for someone out there, a lot of our listeners may have young kids that are under 5 years old and they are thinking about what to do with education. Do you have any other bits of advice and what to consider with the homeschooling thing?
I think what I found best is for a child to just hang around mum during the day, especially those first 5 years. I know that's hard now because so many women have to work, but I was privileged not to have to. And I think just them seeing what I do every day, copying, learning, giving them little chores at a very young age seemed to be helpful to make them responsible, even as children. And also having, I think the first so many years, especially primary school, as a mum, you don't have to have any degrees. You can teach your children how to read, how to write, timetables, things like that. Just get a globe and, teach them about the world and just everyday life. Yeah, it's extremely important for children.
Yeah. And did Michael or Dad have any input with some of the homeschooling stuff?
He talks a lot, and just by listening to him, I'm sure they've learned a lot. He never really helped as such in the homeschooling because he's busy working.
The boys helped out a lot on job sites. So then when they were doing their electrical apprenticeships, like in the practical tests, they were like far faster at completing stuff than a lot of the other guys. So they had a lot of practical knowledge that was just, from...
And it's funny because me personally, I wasn't cut out for the school system. Make me read something, remember it, and write it out again under pressure within an hour, I fall apart.
It's hard.
Yeah, I'm just, but get a whiteboard, draw it, explain it, let's go do some practical things.
Yes.
I will get it.
Yeah.
And I'll just encourage anyone out there who's listening and thinking, how can we do things with our children differently? Maybe homeschooling is an option. I know John, the co-host of this podcast, who isn't here today, he's taken one of his kids out of a traditional high school and put them up at the sports high school.
Right.
So it's just a little bit different. I think it's a watch this space with education. And in terms of costs for homeschool, talk to us about that.
Yeah, I can't remember the exact amount, but I think we might have paid $1,800 a year.
Yeah.
But then, of course, you pay your books for all the books on top of that.
Yeah.
And once you have, there's two types of book. One's where they work in, the other one's is like my answer book. And once you've got those books, you keep them until they update them. And the books they worked in, you'd have to replace, obviously, with each child.
Did it ever come it's homeschooling, it's Monday morning, it's like, all right, kids, chill out, mummy's not in the mood. we'll catch up tomorrow. I guess
you can't do that. You have to be committed because you have to get so much work done every month, and it gets sent away to that was Brisbane.
So there are checks and balances.
Absolutely, yeah. And I want to make sure that they have a good opportunity. I don't want them falling behind because I want them to do what they want to do with their lives. You know what I mean? I encourage them to. They want to go to uni.
Yeah.
The foundation has been laid. Yeah. And some of our children, which might help some listeners too, were quite dyslexic, especially the boys. So it's really hard for them to sit in the classroom, not understanding, and obviously falling behind from first day, really.
Yeah, and I just empathize with that because that was me. And I'm now a professional podcaster and I talk for a living.
Well done.
And I can't speak that good England. But it's...
Give me and my accent. Yeah, I did okay. So, hey, anyone out?
Yeah, and I think it's like that life lesson stuff. It's like, keep moving, be active.
Yes.
If you trip over, get up. It's all good. There's no rules. Just don't break laws, whatever.
Correct.
Yeah, awesome. Just on the homeschooling thing, any other comments? Because I think it's just a really fascinating topic. And I've met a lot of your children and, they're not weird. Or maybe
Pass
Keeks.
the weird check.
Yeah,
Come on.
Someone did say to me recently, I was overseas, and they were like, "Oh, you were homeschooled. Oh, you don't seem." I'm like, "Dude, I've been out of school for 10 years. Give me a break."
That's right.
Those days are long gone. But
Yeah.
no, I don't know. It was.
Yeah. I reckon if you have the opportunity to definitely look into it, because I know looking back on my life and not being in school, I missed out on so much drama and even, different bits of anxiety or depression that lots of young people go through because, they are in that school aspect. I think it's a blessing that I pretty much missed out on that. Yeah, because I
Yeah.
wasn't necessarily surrounded by those people and that drama all the time.
Yeah.
Like I still had friends. Mum was like, we all were participating in sports, when we were a kid, little A's, or we did like
Oh, little A's. Oh. See, that gave me so much anxiety. I look back and I think that's where my anxiety started. Because like little chumpy Glenn, he's not a runner, guys. Just give you the rundown.
It was really good for us because we could take them all at once, they all do the exercise for the week. And some were very good at one of our girls was extremely good at running, but the others, hey, fun.
Yeah.
and I met other people.
And I guess through the homeschooling networks or whatever, so you said like the head office was in Brisbane.
Yeah.
Obviously in your area, you would get notified of other little chapters
Yes.
or whatever, so you can do meetups or whatever with all the
If
weird
you wanted
gifts.
to,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
If you wanted to, that was
Yeah.
yes. But we were pretty
Yeah.
confident and we felt like we had pretty good social networks, so
Yeah.
we didn't need to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, let's talk about a bit of Monet and
Let's do it.
Christmas. There's a question here.
Good questions from everybody.
Yeah.
We've got some good ones.
Yeah. So Natalie says, with Christmas gifts, we'll start with Anyo. Do you set a monetary budget on each child / family member for gifts?
Because I'm of Dutch heritage, we never did Christmas in Holland. We had Christmas as Christmas, just remembering, what Jesus born. And then we had Santa Claus, I don't know how you say it in English.
Yes.
Okay, whatever, St. Nicholas.
Yes.
And that was prior, I think the end of November. And that was when you bought all the gifts and
Right.
had poems and games. But it was not about the gift, it was much more about having a fun night.
Yes.
So then when I came to Australia, first of all, having Christmas in summer was like, oh, this is weird. No snow. But I think we've always said, no, the birthdays are more important for us because that's more of a milestone and a celebration of the child. Christmas, we might spend... Well, I used to buy presents for all of them when they were little, obviously, but little presents, like crafts or things like that, yeah.
So I guess just from what I'm understanding, the Christmas is more of family together.
Correct.
We're celebrating this together, but we'll highlight each child on their birthday.
Yeah.
So just on the birthday gifts then, would you go, okay, I spend X amount on every kid every year, or is it this tailored thing, what they need, what they want?
depends who she loves the most.
$10,000 budget for me.
No, on average, we wouldn't spend more than $200 per child.
Yeah.
If it's the 21st, we obviously get something nice, not normally a lovely ring or so as a remembrance. But apart from that, no, we don't. I mean, children have everything they need.
Yeah.
not
Yeah,
like
that's
they
right.
need
We
a
live
lot
in
more.
Australia. What more do you want?
Yeah, I know it.
So Claudia asks, how do you encourage your kids to treasure experiences more than gifts? So I might ask Amanda, in your experience, like growing up in this family where it's Christmas is about together and the event together as opposed to individually give me my PlayStation 3 or give me my whatever. What was your experience like understanding the experiences?
Yeah, it was very much about, the family being together and having, like growing up, we'd have it combined with all the cousins and the uncle and aunts. And then that was really fun. And then as we've all grown older and then their kids are getting their own children, it's become more our family unit plus the grandkids. It's very much, I think, about keeping it about the family and not getting carried away by the commercialness that is, I think, Christmas in society today. We always kind of do Christmas Eve dinner and gifts, and then Christmas Eve service, and then Christmas Day we just hang out and play games and do activities, or
Try to cook a nice Christmas lunch. Which we should.
all us girls get in the kitchen. We've all got our aprons on and we make it, and then we make dinner. Yeah.
Okay, so on the whole, Stephanie Cooper says hosting Christmas lunch without going over the top. She always panics and spends a fortune, and I'm with you. Like, I'm the worst caterer. I'll go to Woolworths and it's like, I've got 5 people coming over. Why did I just spend $700? Like, it's not a skill that I've got. I'm just saying it right now. So, Anya, how do you spread the money thin without having 2-minute noodles for everybody?
Hey, you've already started buying apple ciders.
Yeah, true. Like, for instance, apple cider, like non-alcoholic.
Yeah.
They had $1.50 off the other day per bottle. So I bought boxes of bottles already for Christmas time. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
So just things I know that I'm going to use when I see them on special a couple months prior. They're not going to go off. I will buy them then. Christmas Day lunch, definitely don't overspend. No, I'm not a cook. I don't particularly like cooking. I don't like baking. I don't like the whole kitchen scene so much. So we have quite some funny stories about my attempts in cooking chickens and meatballs.
Turkey and oh man.
This turkey's very chewy.
Turkey, yeah. Turkey, we did turkey last year or the year before, and that was quite nice.
Girls,
That
the
girls
older girls
helped,
made it,
yeah.
the ones from overseas.
No, but mum did well. She does good.
So because you've got so how many of your children have like spouses now?
So there's 3 married
Yeah.
and 2 grandchildren, 2
Yeah.
little boys.
Oh,
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah.
And do we spoil the grandchildren?
Yeah,
yeah, we always spoil them.
we love the grandboy.
Yeah.
Yeah, so one's 2, one's nearly 1.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. Oh, fun. So basically, when you are planning the lunch, do you tell people, like, because not everyone lives at home, obviously, still, is it like bring a plate, or do people just rock up?
Yeah, no, people just rock up overall, don't
I think we all.
And what's your
last
address?
year-
Tell me more about this rocking up.
But we all just were around home. So we're all like, even our sisters with their partners, like they all just stayed at our house.
Yeah.
So we all were at home.
That's
so we all
it.
just
All work
contributed
together.
and we all
Yeah.
just brought stuff. So I don't know. We're not great at budgeting. I think the lunch we just
Make it
Just
happen.
kinda
I
make it
think
happen.
Christmas lunch is, I mean, you're wise in how you spend it, but you always have a bit more anyhow, which is great because the next day you have leftovers. So
Yeah.
you don't have
But we
to,
probably just plan what you're going to eat.
Yes.
So that when you go to the shops, you stick to your shopping list.
Yep, definitely.
Yeah.
You know,
So when you say, you see something throughout the year, it's like what month do you start looking at that Christmas? What time do you have your
Probably
plan? October.
Yeah, when I see the Christmas tree at church, I go, oh no, again.
I love the Christmas tree factor.
Yeah.
That's my, okay, it's time to start
Yeah.
looking and
Yeah. And I guess because you've got such a big group of people and family to look after, this prior planning stuff is just even more important
yes.
because no one has unlimited money. We can't go 2 weeks before and just go, all right, everyone, we're going to Costco in West Sydney and bring the truck. So it actually is just intentional.
Definitely, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So this year we're all having apple cider. Next year it might be pineapple juice. Who knows?
Whatever's on special.
Now, Emma Jury, if that's how you pronounce your name, probably not, but whatever, we're here now. When you have bought maybe smaller gifts for Christmas, and I think, Keeks, you said in a message that you might open some at Christmas Eve, where are you hiding the presents?
Oh,
Those secret places.
Are these
This
secret
is the
places that
long-
you know about?
So mum likes to buy a gift, right? Obviously early because it would be on special if she can, unless if it's last minute and then it's like the day before Christmas. But she has a special place where she puts her things and
And no one knows by the sounds of it.
no one knows, not even mum knows when Christmas comes. So it'd be like 2 years later, mum's like, I got you this gift when she finds it.
In a safe place that I lost it.
Or it's like even sometimes I think, I don't know, I probably can recall a memory of mum, like it's your birthday and mum's like, I did get you a present, but I can't find it. But it's good. Yeah.
what was the question?
Like your secret hiding space, or what do you do with the
Have you
presents?
got one?
Well, yeah, I hide things because, we all kind of, because we're all home, we all,
Yeah.
put a washing away or whatever. So I have to be careful. So I might put some behind the singlets or some
taking
underneath the
notes.
undies or some in a drawer behind some other stuff. And honestly, I forget. I
Yeah.
really do.
Yeah.
I think a lot of it goes in your room and then we're just not allowed in near your room for
Yeah,
that
that's
period
what
of
we've been
time.
doing the last 2 years, which worked well. Yep. No one's allowed to look through the bags.
Someone wrote, and I can't see it in front of me. They wrote that they hide the presents in suitcases and lock them.
Good.
Oh, that's a good
That's
idea.
good.
That's a solid one.
That's a hack, isn't it?
We've got a lot
Take
of
that one,
suitcases. That's a
girls.
good one.
Yep.
Probably one of those safe places that we'd forget about though.
Yeah. So
Forget the code.
yeah. So with catering for large amounts of people, probably not a 5-course bespoke dinner. What do we do with most bang for our buck and volume? Like, what do you find is tasty, is not expensive, and can spread thin?
Potatoes.
Potatoes.
Yeah.
Potatoes.
Meatballs. Or I think we used to have what we all like. Christmas lunch, we would have a couple of chickens.
Yeah.
We like chicken better than turkey, so we just do
Yeah.
like 2 or 3 chickens.
And
Yeah.
boys like steak, so we might have some steak, we might have some meatballs, we have applesauce, with, and just some veggies and
It's like a roast.
And lots
really.
of salads.
Lots
just
of
like
salads,
a roast lunch
yeah.
with lots
Yeah.
of salads.
And then you always need to have a bit extra because
the extras that
the
come.
extras that come along, like
Yeah.
if there's people by themselves, we always say you come over.
I mean, I'll be there on Christmas.
Yep, absolutely. No one should be alone Christmas Day, so
Yeah.
everyone's welcome. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's an interesting one because I think, we've all had things in our life and events, and I even had a message the other day. Someone said to me, "Oh, we're doing this. Should we invite this person?" I'd feel awkward and I said, "Nope, we invite everyone.
Yes, good.
Everyone's always welcome, and particularly around Christmas, it can be a very sad time for
Yeah.
people in our community. So yeah, that's a really good thing to pick up. So Samantha says, how do you get it all done in time? Do you do online shopping, click and collect? When do you practically need to start? You said October for the food. Is it just like see the Christmas trees? All right, now I start planning.
Yeah, basically. I don't do much click and collect. I might get a Woolies order with all the heavy stuff, but
Yeah.
apart from that, I like to go in and
Scope out those deals.
yeah. I think I'm just I'm efficient. I'm grateful. I'm an efficient person, so
Yeah.
I get a lot done in a little time.
Yeah.
And I seem to have the ability to see what needs to be done and get it organised.
Oh, for both. Yeah. What about gifts? What about
What
gifts?
about gifts?
Gifts is like, that's a topic. Yeah.
So gifts,
Secret
what we
Santa.
do now, the Secret Santa. Do you want to explain?
Oh yes.
Yeah, sure. So because there's a lot of us now, and especially growing family, everyone's getting married and stuff. But we have been doing this for a while now. Hey, yeah,
Probably about 7-8 years.
yeah. So quite a while. We're quite experienced in this. But pretty much we'll do Secret Santa. So we'll get everyone's name, put it in twice, and then everyone picks out a name. 2 names each. So each person's buying for 2 people, and then we have a budget. So this year the budget is $50 to $70 each person.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so we do that in October. Yeah.
We did it last week
Yeah.
or 2 weeks ago.
2 weeks
already.
ago.
Perfect.
Yeah.
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 Just so that you can start keeping an eye out for gifts. So
Yeah.
yeah.
So I guess like both of you have grown up under mum who's been, planned, considered, probably, more because she's had to be somewhat organised. Are you both organised people?
We're all pretty last minute.
Yeah.
Amanda can be organised.
Yeah, I would say I am strong in both areas, I think.
Yeah.
I think
I think we all are. You have to be in a big family. Something always pops up.
that's spontaneous,
Yeah.
but then planned. I'd say I'm a planned person, but then spontaneity is also good.
Yeah.
But I've already got my head ticking for all my things.
Yeah. I'm pretty last
Budget
minute.
life.
Amen. There's a question here, and I don't know. She put a little smiley face onto it, so I don't know if it was like this loaded question or, whatever. It's a bit scandalous. Katie says, how do you account for your environmental impact for such a big family, you evil people,
If that's the face.
with your using the carbon footprint for existing? Yeah, so, but seriously, on that, it's a good question because, I just, for the life of me, I hate going to the supermarkets and you go to like Kmart and it's just all this plastic crap and it's all this rubbish. Like, so maybe Amanda, like, what's your experience been in the big family, to do things that is maybe intentional for the environment or otherwise?
I think for us, like the Secret Santa thing is good because then we're not just buying little cluttery things for everybody, and then that's just a lot of wastage in a way. I mean, it doesn't have to be. You can still be intentional with those small gifts, but so I think that helps us be mindful. But then even buying gifts that can be like those metal water bottles, like those are awesome gifts.
Oh,
and
like the Yeti ones, whatever.
yeah. And my brother got the Yeti beer cooler, and he uses that all the time. So gifts that can be reusable and have got good longevity. And then I think also just being mindful of like supporting locals. So trying to buy from local people. And, within our Australian, with the bushfires, there's lots of websites now for all the different like buying local things. there was. Oh, I had something else, but I've
That's
lost
right. You
that
might
train of
remember.
thought. Yeah.
Keeks, speaking about buying local and supporting local businesses,
Yep.
tell us about the top you've got on.
I do. I have got a beige shirt on. Our good friend Bonnie Gray is an artist, and she's not recently, quite a while ago, released, I guess, like a few T-shirts and stuff. So yeah, supporting your
She
friends,
also
get
does
on it.
Beautiful
So what's her name
artwork.
She
again?
does do Bonnie Gray. Look her up.
Yeah, Instagram.
Beautiful artworks.
Yes. Yep.
She always like comes around to Twin Bay. I see like once a week.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah, she's
Yep.
awesome.
Yeah,
So
she's
yeah,
a beautiful artist.
check out
Yeah.
Bonnie Gray on Instagram or whatever.
Yep.
Okay, so some years, like we all ebb and flow in life. Sometimes things pop up.
Yep.
Anyo, have there been years where you've just gone, this is a really good idea and it would suit the family or three of the kids? Have there been experiences where you've just pooled presents?
Yes, absolutely. My parents-in-law, they had a beautiful property in Tasmania. We'd often go there for holidays, and they were right on the lake, so we could be all around the lake. So we bought the children all a quad bike, and that was a lot of fun. They loved it, and we took it back home with us, didn't we? We must have done.
Yeah, I think we had it in the van and took it
Had it in
home.
the van on the Spirit of Tasmania.
Oh, we did.
Because we had a
too, yeah.
minibus. Yeah, 12 seats.
The fun bus. Yeah.
We had the special bus.
Actually, on that, talk to us about cars and transportation. How are we doing this?
Okay, well,
How many cars do we have now?
we have lots of cars now. At the time, we had 3 children, and we had a station wagon. And then my husband was having a cup of tea in one of the units we were living at the time. And then he hears this car start up and he goes, oh, that's my car. So someone actually stole our car. So he ran after on his socks and missed it anyhow. That was really good for us because the insurance then paid us a lot more than we could have ever sold the car for. So we could buy a little minibus. So that was the next step with the 4th child, right? So then we had the minibus, and I actually loved that because Michael took out the 2 front seats, so I could put all my groceries there, put a pram in there, and I get special parking because it's a bus, right? So
Yeah.
it was really good.
And us older girls got the front seat. We had the full leg room.
Love it. Business class.
Business class in a minibus.
It wouldn't be a podcast without talking about family scandals. So you've got...
Okay, then.
Hey, just go with me, right? Yeah, keeping up with the polls. So, Anyo, you've got a big growing family. You've got an expanding family as your children bring in partners into the craziness and all that.
Yeah.
Have you ever had to set some realistic expectations with the kids or your daughter-in-law, son-in-law? Has there ever been anything, or is it just they're involved in the family and they get the culture of the family? Because you've got your own cultural hub. You've got your own ecosystem. Mm-hmm. So has there been any scandals where you've had to put your foot down? It's like, no, you're not bloody doing that at Christmas. You're coming here, blah, blah, blah. I don't know.
I don't know. Help me, girls. Have we?
There might not have been any scandals. Just trying to make it a bit clickbaity.
I mean, it's hard for a new person to come into our family because it's
We're quite intimidating.
Yeah.
We're all very
No,
loud.
we're not intimidating, but we're
outspoken.
very loud and very stubborn.
Is that the Dutch?
It's the Dutch coming out.
Okay, so on the Dutch thing,
Michael's Dutch as well, you see.
wow. So the Dutch, this is not from me, don't shoot the messenger. There's a reputation the Dutch people are really tight with their money. True or false?
I think it's true in the older generation.
Sure.
Definitely. I think the young ones, absolutely not. Even our own lives, I had things that I had to unlearn from the way I was taught to be more generous. And now, always giving money away. And,
Yeah.
Yeah.
And just on that, I'm glad you said the G word because when I teach money, I believe we always have to give,
Yes.
save, and then spend
Yep.
in that order. Because there's always people worse off than us. We do have to look after our own
Absolutely.
future,
Yep.
but we have to enjoy life and we
Yeah.
have to eat now. With generosity, how have you modeled that or talked to your kids about that?
Oh, look again. I think it's just, I can't even think of specific. I think it's just the way they're brought up. You give, like obviously we always,
I think it's very much you follow by example. So I think by you and Dad always being generous, and I think generosity doesn't always have to look like money. I think it
True.
can look like hospitality, you know, and always having, you know, everyone's always welcome. Like we can always, I mean, that's the benefit of a lot of people. You can always fit another person around the table because it's what's the big deal? We're
there's
already
20
making
people
food
here.
for
What's
the other
another
people.
person?
So I think we've kind of probably learned that from you guys as well, and it's probably something that is more lifestyle that is taught through, and I think being intentional about giving and
Yeah, and supporting, like even friends of ours we met in Adelaide years ago. He lives in India. He's an Indian man, and he supports a school and hospital there. So we supported a lot of their children, help purchase. I mean, you don't want to boast either. Do you know what I mean? But
Yeah.
so we gave them some money so they could buy land and put other buildings on that, and just things like that, which we knew the person, so we knew it was a good thing.
And I guess over this, life as a spectrum, it's just not a straight linear line. It's just like a squiggly thing, right? There's presumably been times in your own financial life that it might have been tighter. And so how have you managed those ebbs and flows with the family, with expectations that we've got to cater this, we've got to buy birthday gifts if it is a tight year?
Yeah.
How have you managed that? Or while you think about that, Keeks, growing up, do you ever look back and think, oh, I remember that year. There was no bloody money and we went without
I think having 10 kids, that is a lot on its own. Yeah, having to fund all of that. But I think mum and dad are very good at being generous. It's, I don't know how to put it, but I guess they wouldn't let what they're going through affect us too much, as best as they could.
Don't fight in front of the kids.
And again, being wise, like there used to be a shop, can I mention a name?
You can do whatever you
It
want.
used to be Pumpkin Patch, and they were great, beautiful things, but they would have these huge sales, didn't they?
Yeah.
So then I would buy, I think, for say 10% of the full price, and I'd have everything for the children for the next year. So they always look nice. I didn't believe in hand-me-downs and children. I think each child is special. They all need to have their own clothing as such.
Yeah.
hand-me-downs are awesome though.
Yeah, now they are, but
Now
not
they
when
are.
you were little. Right?
How many times growing up, even in the last week or the last couple of months, have you heard from one of their house, who's got mine?
Oh my gosh. I
Every
think
day.
I'm fortunate because I'm the littlest, so they can't really wear my stuff, whereas they're all 6 foot. So they all share clothes and shoes, and I'm just like, no one fits my stuff.
There's always something missing.
But also on the generosity, it's also like we've been recipients of that as well. So when we were living in the States, we were like,
Yes.
Dad wasn't really working when we were there. It was kind of like he was doing college and we were holidaying. But people would put us up. We were one time there for Christmas in
Wilmington.
And this couple had us staying at their house. It was really lovely, and it was Christmas time and it was snowing. And then we woke up in the morning and they had bought gifts for all of us kids.
Wow.
And
They left
And they
said,
left.
You have the house for 2 or 3 days.
Yeah.
And each child had gifts. Like amazing.
Beautiful.
you know,
Pretty
so
cool.
it's nice to be generous, but then when you're on the flip side, it's like it is nice to be like, oh, this is what it feels like. So it is good to remember like how you can make other
Absolutely.
people feel. And even like the big family, I remember Easter one year we had someone buy all of us kids like a chocolate thing, which we never did the Easter bunny thing, but they bought one for all of us children and it had each of our names. And so it's actually it's like little things, but it's like including, I don't know, generosity
Yeah.
is like
And
really special.
I think in the American thing, it's fascinating. Like Keeks and Rach were born in America.
Yes, yeah.
So we've got a Dutch, American, Australian,
Canadian.
Canadian.
no, Dad's Canadian,
Oh, okay.
That's Canadian.
but also Dutch.
His parents were Dutch, but he was born in Canada.
Wow.
Yeah.
Fascinating.
Four nationalities, one family,
Yeah.
3 passports.
Well, we're going to have a quick break. We're going to do a Life Sherpa lesson, which we do once a month. And then when we get back, while we have a break, the polls don't know this yet, but we're going to play a game. So I've got some questions
Yep.
that have you guys got another 10 minutes?
Yeah.
Stay? Yep.
All the time.
Okay. So these are the questions. You're each going to write the answers
Yes.
separately. We'll go outside of here and then we'll come back and I'll read them and we'll have some fun. What did you learn from your parents about money growing up? If your younger sister, daughter asked you for life advice, what would you tell them in one line? Who is likely to be late? Who is the slowest eater and the fastest eater? Who is the tightest
family.
when it comes to their money? And there's some other fun stuff. We'll have a quick break. We'll fill this out and we'll be right back after this.
Time to get down and dirty with the OG of financial advice in Australia. Vince Scully is here to soothe your financial aches and pains. What do you got for us today, Vince?
All right, Vince, what do we got for today's Life Sherpa lesson?
G'day, Glenn. Today, Tom writes, can I get a parental guarantee if I'm buying a house with my partner? My parents are in a position to be guarantors, but her parents aren't. So how does that work? Well, just to back up a bit, most people buying a home starting out are usually more limited by their ability to get a deposit together than their ability to service a loan. And one way around that is to get one of your parents to give a guarantee to the bank, which says to the bank, if you don't pay, I'll pay. And that's usually...
And if no one pays, we'll come and take the parents' house and get our money.
Right. And and that's usually secured, as you say, Glenn, by a mortgage on the parents' house. And that's a great way to get into property without having a deposit and without paying lender's mortgage insurance. That's the good news. The bad news is that banking with the bank of mum and dad gives your parents a great excuse to interfere with your choice of partner and your choice of career. So this is as much a psychological and emotional problem as it is a financial problem. There are, of course, risks for your parents. So if you don't pay, your parents' house is at risk. Is that something you want to live with? But I think those emotional issues, the interest rate may be low, but you do have to listen to lectures from your parents. So knowing you and knowing your parents is the key to success in this. In your case where you're saying your parents are in a position but hers aren't, that now gives your parents a perfectly legitimate excuse to comment on your choice of partner. And whether you're comfortable with that is a question for you. And whether she's comfortable is a big question.
So I guess in terms of the practical mechanics, if there was a $500,000 home,
Yep.
and we'll just, back off.
The parents 500,000.
Well, both.
Yep,
You,
okay.
you want to buy, and so everyone back off. We're not talking about in a city anywhere, hour and a half out of a capital city.
Yep.
$500,000 parents' home. You want to purchase a $500,000 home.
Yep.
To not pay lender's mortgage insurance, and we basically need a 20% deposit, which is $100,000.
Yes.
So that deposit from your home can be cash, can be a parental guarantee or the government
Yep.
schemes. But on the parental guarantee side, if both parents were in a good position, you would still only use one of the parents anyway. It'd be very, very rare
Yes.
to have a parental guarantee, 50 grand on one parent's property and 50 grand on the other. I don't know if there's any lenders that would actually do that. Not sure. Talk to your
Sure, it's
mortgage broker.
possible. I've never seen one. Usually it's one of the parents gets to do it. And of course, you've probably got brothers and sisters. So if they're going to do it for you, are they going to do it for them as well? Are they going to expect you to be out of it by the time your younger sister wants to buy her house?
But I guess to directly answer the question, if her parents aren't in a financial position,
Yep.
that's okay. Your
That is
parents can
okay.
do it.
Yeah. So the deal with the bank is they want to make sure that the loan they give you is 80% or less of the total security value. And the total security value is the $500,000 house you're buying and the $500,000 house your parents have. So 500 is less than 80% of $1 million. Therefore, that's fine.
Now, it really, I guess to just drill in on that question as well, if both parents couldn't do it and grandma was able to, some banks and lenders would entertain other family members. So it's as much as it's parental guarantee, I think it's more of a family guarantee.
Yeah, it does limit your options. Each bank has their own quirky policy as to whether they'll take parents or step-parents or grandparents. Grandparents are often a little sensitive with banks. Banks really don't like the current affair risk of throwing granny out of her home. That's never a good look from a publicity viewpoint. So parents are the most common.
Yeah. So I guess the long and the short is it's more of a, in this instance, does your partner want to be in financial bed with her potential in-laws?
Yeah.
And the strings that could be attached, good or bad.
Yep.
I know me personally, I could have had a parental guarantee for my first home, but I decided to pay the $15,000 LMI,
Mhm.
not to involve mum and dad
Yeah,
for a
and
variety of reasons.
And I think that's a good thought. As the parent of a 20-something myself, my philosophy is that if he gets his 5% deposit together, I will pay his LMI bill. And that's my contribution to the deal. And that means he's demonstrated he's good for it because he saved 5%, and my credit's not on the hook.
That's
So-
right. You've written a 15 grand check.
Yep.
God bless you. See you later.
So I've done my bit. The bank's taking risk on him,
and you're not
and-
carrying any
and
risk.
I'm not carrying any ongoing risk.
Well, you've quantified your risk.
yeah,
Is
I
that
fixed my risk.
Yeah, you've thrown
It's a-
15 grand away, possibly.
Yep.
So
So that's my take on it. But parental guarantees are very common at Life Sherpa. A lot of our, more than half of our first home buyers have some form of parental support.
And realistically, if you are a first home buyer, a good mortgage broker who focuses on, that type of the market, they'll be able to answer these questions with you,
That's right.
and they will have their own due diligence to meet with the parents.
Yep.
Even separately.
Yep.
Because the parent's home is on the line.
It is.
And an example is, just to finish this little example, if you purchased your first home with a parental guarantee and you borrowed $400,000 that was secured against the current property you have,
Mhm.
and then you borrowed another $100,000 secured against the parent's property,
Mhm.
and the market crapped itself, and the house, you didn't pay your mortgage, and they sold the house for $450,000, which is $50,000 less than what you paid for it, and you still owe the bank $50,000. They're going to call in their security on that loan, and $100,000 of that loan is on the parent's property.
Mhm.
So what the banks or lenders will do in the worst case scenario, rock up to the parents, say, hey, you owe us 50 grand. If you can't pay, you're going to go on a payment plan for the next 50 years to pay it off.
Or we'll take your house.
Or we sell the whole house to get that 50 grand.
And so you raised two very good points there, Glenn. One is a traditional guarantee, the parent's on the hook for the whole loan. With some of the more specialized family pledge products, they're limited to a defined amount, usually the difference between 80% and 100%.
Mm.
So a broker that understands the difference is pretty critical. And when you are choosing a broker, the number one thing you should look at is, does this broker look after people like me?
And are they lazy? Because we don't want a lazy mortgage
No, we
broker.
don't need a lazy mortgage broker. But the important point is that they look after people like you. So
Yes.
if you're a first home buyer, you don't want to use a broker who's great at investment properties, dealing with people who have 10 investment properties. You want someone who looks after first home buyers and will take the time and patience to take you through all the ins and outs of the complexities of parental guarantees, super savings schemes,
All of it.
all the government benefits, and we'll take the time to explain all that to you.
Sweet. All right. Thanks, Vince.
Thank you, Glenn.
Welcome back to the podcast. We're so glad that you're joining us again for this game we're now going to go through. So Glenn has given us some questions and we're now going to go through and, we have answered them, but Glenn's going to read out our answers.
Yes.
And we're going to have a little giggle.
The first question, what did you learn from your parents about money growing up?
Yep.
Anya, you said save and that they might have been cheap. Okay. But you learned that. And see, lessons are interesting because we can learn things. And once we learn things, we've got a choice. What
Yeah.
do we do with that information? And you've learned that and gone, you know what? That's not a good way to live for me. Amanda said, be generous. Don't hold money too tight. And Keeks, you said, there's never enough of it, but always be generous with it. Yeah. That's so good. The next question: if your younger sister / daughter asks you for advice about life, what would you tell them in one line? Keeks, you said, don't take it too seriously. Amanda said, do what you're passionate about. Don't stress about what you do because you'll probably only do it for 7 years. That's some good advice.
Always says that as well.
Yeah.
Whenever someone's like, I don't know what to do career-wise, and she's like, we're only going to do it for 10 years or less. She's like, it's not a whole life
Not even
decision.
Yeah.
It's 5
Yeah.
or 7.
And Mum, you said, love people, enjoy life, be thankful and generous. Awesome. Who is most likely to be late? Yep, everyone wrote Keeks.
Everyone has me, I'm
easy.
sure of it.
Yep,
I'm always late.
Keeks wrote late. I was shocked you guys are on time today.
Well,
Well, I wasn't shocked. Like, I was shocked that you were, given that you're
Yeah,
always late.
I was the last one ready.
Okay.
Yeah, last one in the car.
Who's the slowest and faster eater? Basically,
Unanimous.
everyone was like pretty much eat or you'll lose it. You'll miss out on seconds.
Basically, we do small portions, so you had to eat your food real fast to get seconds.
And if you want, you got to eat fast so there is seconds. Otherwise, the seconds are gone.
Oh, and this is funny. Who is the tightest when it comes to parting with their money? Mum sat that one out. Amanda said herself, and you're trying to be more generous. And Keek said, Amanda, not tight, just wise.
Sugaroo.
Okay. Who is the most financially irresponsible? Keeks, you said probably you. Amanda, you said Keeks.
Okay.
Rip me.
But also, it's that like, what is it? That disposable income age still?
yeah.
yeah,
So there's that aspect.
And
Learning.
your mum said you were the most financially irresponsible.
Oh, good to know.
I didn't mean
Maybe
to.
you got confused.
Yeah, I meant
Yeah.
to.
It's probably
it's
my
She meant to say me, but now she looks at me and she regrets it.
it's probably my
I
grammar.
can take it. It's okay.
Okay, if you got one phone call from the police and they said someone had been arrested for having too much fun, who would it be? You said your sons.
Definitely.
Amanda said you. So you're a bit of a
Yeah.
yourself. Yeah, a bit of a fun.
In my opinion.
Yeah. And then Keeks also said your brothers.
yeah, they love to have fun.
I like this question. And because I hadn't really spent that much time with your mother, I didn't want to be like, the question was going to be, who's most likely to laugh at a funeral? Like just
done it.
giggle?
Oh,
Yeah.
I've done
done
that
it.
too.
But
We
I-
get nervous.
But I softened it and said, who is the one to laugh inappropriately in a serious situation? Keeks wrote Amanda. Amanda said herself. And Anya, you said yourself as well.
Yeah. We're not great at being too serious.
Yeah, that's
Taking
good.
ourselves too serious.
One story on funerals, my mum and her sister, they were going to a funeral in Sydney once and they were late. Anyway, they rocked up, sat down in this building. Wrong funeral, wrong day. And they said they were just sitting there giggling the whole time. It was awkward. And then the last question that we had, who would be most likely to leave their phone at home and go off the grid for the day without telling anyone? Anya, you said yourself. You're out of here. Amanda said, yep, I'll take that. See ya. And then Keeks, you said your mum as well. She always leaves her phone
That's true.
behind.
Yep.
It's kind of a good hack. Like, just go and forget your phone.
Yeah.
And then
a
it's
lot
really
more
annoying.
peaceful.
It's really annoying when you like want to Google like where something is or
Yes.
what time the store shuts, and you're like, oh,
Yeah.
should have brought my phone.
So I guess in wrapping up the episode, I've had a lot of fun, and I hope for you listening that you've heard things and maybe thought of different Christmas hacks for yourself, because we can't cover everything, but I just want this to be an entertaining, thought-provoking thing that people can actually think about and be intentional with their money. The highlights for me has been that, Anya, you've been planned where possible, you've been considered, you've taken the view that I'll be generous and not stingy. And just talk. You talked about growing up. Obviously, your parents are older than all of us here. That's obvious. And they're Dutch.
Yes.
And you said that you really learned growing up from them that it was just hold on to everything.
Well, mum would have been very generous,
Right.
but mum never worked. She was
Yep.
a stay-at-home mum, which is great. But my dad, things were tougher in those days, and he would build his own house, and every cent counted.
Yeah.
So it was like, no, you're going to get jeans that are 20 sizes too big because they were cheap. Do you know what I mean? Things like that, rather than
Yeah.
But they grew up in really
they
tough
did. That's what I mean.
times,
That's
so
all
that
they
was-
knew.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's right. And because I often think, and I think one of you said it earlier, it's like it's the generous mindset, it's the generous heart. Money can be tight, but there's always room for one more to share your time and company. So we might go around the circle for some last words. Keeks, do you want to leave some parting thoughts about growing up in a chaotic family, Christmas, presents, money?
What's the thought? I
Whatever
don't
you
know.
want.
I would say have a big family. Yep. Because I can't imagine having a Christmas time with just 5 people. It would be quiet, and that just wouldn't be fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We had one of those, man, a few years ago. Amanda,
I was in New York
and
with my other
Christina,
4 sisters.
Yeah, they were
Yep.
in New York, and it was only like 5 of us at home, and it was the worst Christmas we've ever had.
They texted us, and Bethany, my little sister, was like, "Where is everyone?" She's like, "This is horrible." I think she cried. Yeah.
Amanda, final
Final
thoughts?
I would say be planned. Think about something that, like when buying gifts for people, think about something that is personal to them and that would touch them. And even like, you know, as I hang out with friends, I'll like listen if there's things that they want to, or they've been like hanging out for, and utilize the Black Friday sales.
Yes.
Yep. And go in with a list and utilize that.
Love it. Mum?
Yeah, well, I think you've heard most of mine. And I
Yeah.
think the main thing is just enjoy.
Yeah.
Enjoy the family. Don't allow not having enough money or the busyness to stop you from enjoying the family being together.
Yeah.
Yep.
Awesome.
Love it.
Well, do you want to wrap up the episode,
Yeah,
Keeks?
I can. Thank you for joining us on this podcast. It's been great, I guess, hearing from my mother and sister and myself, as well as Glenn, who shared some good insight.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
No worries, but enjoy your Christmas. Remember to be generous, but to also be wise with your money. We'll see you next week. I went off with the brothers. All right, let's do this.
Love it.
We're swapping it out. All right. Oh, okay. You're still going to be. That's okay. You're
Hello,
still gonna be
guys.
on the
Welcome to
screen.
the My Millennial podcast. Today we have Amanda, Glenn, and Anya Paul joining us. Now, Glenn, what's it like growing up with 8 siblings? I mean, 8 sisters, sorry.
Look, it's rough.
Is
what
it
can I
rough?
say?
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I can only imagine because I grew up with one sister and girl cousins, and I
Mm.
spent most of my childhood at netball courts. So getting dragged around.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. And I love it. And Glenn, what do you do for a job? Because now I'm your job.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm just a citizen of Earth, and
Okay.
I just float around. I like to help people where I can.
I love it.
Yeah, I'm trying to work on, becoming my childhood dream.
Yeah.
Bit of a
Which
hero,
is what?
really.
What's your childhood dream?
Well, the first job I wanted to do growing up,
Yeah.
as a 4-year-old, was being a garbage truck driver.
That's
Do it
amazing.
for a week.
I seriously love
Do
to.
it for a week.
Love to.
You can just vlog it as well. I reckon people would be really
Yeah.
interested.
Yeah.
100%. Plus, I love garbage dumps. You get all the good things on the side of the
Yes.
road for free.
And sometimes
you know
get
what?
beer with it too. That
Sometimes you can do it up, resell it, make some cash on the side.
Love it.
All about
Photos.
Facebook Marketplace.
So
Anyway,
good.
it's a dangerous place.
It is.
Yeah.
Well,
Should we swap now or?
no, you can stay there.
Oh, I love it.
We'll throw that in at the end.
So this is the Getting to Know Glenn James podcast. We're now
Hey,
going to switch to Glenn. So
if
he can
you,
answer
if
some
you keep
questions.
talking, you'll get a podcast.
Oh, I've already got one in my head.
Do you want, hey,
I wake up and
If
it's
you
like,
wanna do a
welcome to Life
podcast-
of Christina.
if you want to do a podcast, we'll talk. Always looking for confident people behind a
I love
microphone.
it. Yes.
All right, so
confidence issues. My cheeks hurt from laughing.
all right, so
All right, we're going to be serious now.
Okay.
Glenn, can you please be serious?
trying.
Thank you. Okay.
All right, the ball's in your court.
All right, so do you want to
That's what
say
she
welcome back? after
Oh,
the break?
yeah. Okay. Yeah. To you or?
Yeah, or
To the camera.
Is that- is the camera?
Hey,
All right.
give a little wink.
Welcome back. No, welcome back to the podcast. We're so glad that you're joining us again.